I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy playing in the rain.
The marathon is officially upon us. It is currently Thursday night right now, or early evening. It's like 5 p.m. And the marathon itself isn't actually until Sunday morning. However, it is just outside of Portland. So we're going to go ahead and drive up tomorrow because y'all know how it is. After you travel, whether you're driving or flying or whatever, your body just doesn't feel quite right. So we wanted to add buffer for that and make sure that we have time to adjust and be feeling nice and well. We'll pick up our race packets on Saturday night, I think. And it'll be good just to be in town. We've never been to Portland aside from like going through the airport. So we figured we would explore a little bit. We're going to be staying in a hostel that looks really cute, like a private room in a hostel, and I'm excited for that. I think it'll hopefully be an opportunity to meet some other fun people. But I right now am currently packing up, and I've just like laid out all of my race day essentials, we'll say. I mean, you could run a race with a lot less than this, but the things that are hopefully gonna help Sunday go smoothly, and I figured I would kind of take you through and show you what these are. So in terms of what I'll be wearing, I have this sports bra. It's my favorite one. It's from Athleta. It is compression, but not too tight, so it feels really good. I have these leggings. They are, I can't remember what model, but it's an old pair I have from Lululemon. I tested this outfit out on my last long run just to make sure that it works, that everything feels good, and it did. I just don't want things like moving around or causing chafing. Some socks, I find that like thin cotton socks really work best for me. And then of course my running vest. This is the Solomon Advanced Skin 5. It is a little bit of an investment, but I highly recommend it. I hate running without water, even if it's short distances, and I don't like carrying a water bottle. So yeah, this you just strap on, and you can carry a liter in the front if you fill up both of these bottles. And if you're like hiking or going on some really long crazy adventure, you can add like another 2-liter bladder here in the back, which I'm not going to do. There'll be water fill-up stations. That would be way heavier than I want. I have my hat, and it's so gross. You can see like the sweat stains from wearing it on all my runs. But it's necessary. And then I have my Fitbit. This is an old like Fitbit Versa 4. It's what I've been using all throughout training. I don't know how accurate it is. I'll be really curious. I just wore out my run this morning. I'll be really curious to see like how accurate it is on the course. And I wouldn't wear it except I want to have like some idea of my pace to make sure I'm not like going way too fast, because I can imagine I'll get really excited and I don't want to like burn myself out early on. And then lastly here I have my running shoes. These are the Topo Athletic. I actually don't know what specific model they are, but they're 0 drop, and they have a nice wide toe box, so they're more foot shaped. I've been wearing them all throughout training, or I guess at least like the last half of training when I got new shoes because I wore out my old ones. They worked really well for me. Haven't had any blisters but one when I first was breaking them in, so hopefully it will stay that way and I won't get any on the marathon. In terms of fuel, I have these honey packets. Each of these has a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and like 60 carbs worth of honey in it, which is more than I intended. We had been using these little ones, but you have to have 2 like at each time you want to take one. And so Samuel ordered these bigger ones, and I thought they were just double, but he said they're like 4 times the volume. So that's more than I'm used to, which could be a good thing. Trying it on a race day isn't ideal, but I think it's like the same sort of fuel, so hopefully it'll be okay. I'll try to do one every hour, and then if it's too much, I mean, I really hate to waste it, but I guess I can just throw away what's left if there is extra. These gummies, because sometimes you've been putting honey in your mouth for hours and it tastes disgusting, so these are an option. And then I will probably make like a little like peanut butter sandwich or like a scone, it sounds funny, or a stroop waffle, because I'm so slow, like I'm out there for so long that I just get legitimately hungry, and it's like even if I'm managing my blood sugar, my stomach is distracting me, and so I want something for that in case that happens. Last few things that are probably worth showing you are just my deodorant. This is my Primally Pure. It's the blue Tansy deodorant. It held up to my 20 miles, which I was honestly shocked by. I don't really care if I smell bad during or after the marathon. I feel like that's a fantastic time to smell like I worked hard. That sounds really weird, but this works great, and I'll link it below. I have a discount code if you're interested. I have this little like muscle aid balm that my mom left with me when she was here. I figured it couldn't hurt to bring this for afterwards. And this was a gag gift that my husband was given, but I was having some chafing like underneath, like right here when I wear my running vest. I think it just must have to do with my posture because it's only on the one side. But I'm gonna put just a little bit of this like right under the vest to try and prevent it from chafing. It has a little bit of an aggressive fragrance, but a splash won't hurt. And then last thing, I have this ring. It is the Ultra Human Air Ring. I was like gifted this by the brand to try out, and I'm going to be making a review video for them. Still like figuring out what I think about it, but I'm curious to see what it says about the run, and especially what it says about the recovery afterwards, because it's like more of a recovery tool than it is for working out. So that's just kind of an experiment that I'm going to be doing. But we're going to go have just like a little bit of a mobility workout, light weights, kind of move through different ranges of motion, make sure we're feeling good in that department. And I guess I will see you in the morning. It's actually 2 mornings later because yesterday was spent primarily driving. It was a beautiful drive for the most part. We drove through the high desert though for like hours, and there's something about that is just dizzying to me, but that's beside the point. We're staying in a hostel, like I think I mentioned in the last clip, and so I'll show you our room. It's nothing fancy, but we thought it would be fun to try this out. I stayed in a hostel when I was with some of my friends from college in Italy, and it was so fun. Otherwise I would have been like really freaked out to do it, but we were able to get a private room, and there's like a shared kitchen. You get a little teeny breakfast included, and just kind of like a more fun social experience. So coming in the door, you can see it's just one room. It has a full-sized bed, which is a little bit small. I'm not gonna lie. We were like, no, we can totally fit on a full-size bed, and we can. We didn't sleep the best. That could just be because the nerves are ramping up a little bit, but you can get like a queen or maybe even a king-size bed if you want to pay a little bit more. 2 bedside tables, lamps, these beautiful windows over here. You can kind of get a look at the surrounding area out the windows. This hostel is in, I think it's 2. I don't know what time period they're from, but old, beautiful houses. And I think it has like 30 something private rooms. And if you remember, it was like 130 bunks that it had. I don't know, something like that. Little desk area that we have populated with all of our stuff. A closet, which I just stuck like our cooler, my suitcase in. My suitcase wasn't in there until I was like, I'm gonna film this and I don't want my stuff all over the place. Picture, lamp, mirror. Hello, Samuel. How are you feeling?
Nervous.
Nervous. We're gonna go eat some breakfast, and then I think just explore Portland. We'll pick up our packets later today as well. Okay, so we spent the morning exploring Portland. I got like a couple random clips, but not much, and just drove out to Boring, which is the town the marathon itself is in. It's like 40 minutes away from Portland City Center. So we are getting ready to do just a little shakeout run, like 2 miles today, so that we can loosen up our legs for tomorrow. And then the reason we're here is because packet pickup is happening at this park, like where the race itself is starting tomorrow. So it really just hit us What's that? Okay, that makes sense. No, you're good. It just hit me, both of us, I guess, just how remote of a town and remote of a marathon this is. We weren't thinking about that when we signed up. We had like a specific set of dates that we could work with. They were like 6 months out, so we were going to start training and do one of those marathons, and that was like 6 months out. You can make as much noise as you want, you're fine. And we just found this one. It looked like it was relatively flat. It was within driving distance, somewhere we wanted to visit. Like we wanted to do a trip to the Oregon coast and Crater Lake and everything. So we figured we could like combine that. But signups for this marathon were limited to like 150 people. Was it 150, 140? 130.
120, I would think.
120 people is what signups of this marathon are limited to. And then there's a half marathon, which is like 250, and an 8K, which is also like 150. But we checked today to see how many spots were still available, and there are like 40 spots still available for the marathon. Yeah, there are like 76 people total doing this marathon. Kind of in the middle of nowhere. So trying to maintain a positive attitude. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I feel like the nerves are starting to kind of like kick in for the first time. I was honestly doing really well with it, like for the past couple of weeks, but just being here and like focusing on it today, like trying to carb up, trying to like eat a lot, but not eat too much where my body feels weird. I don't know. It's like easy to over rotate on it. So I'm trying to just do my best to go about a normal day, get the nutrients I need. Hopefully I'll feel better with this shakeout run. And yeah, just try to have a restful evening. I need to make a playlist, a couple playlists that I meant to do earlier for tomorrow. I'm gonna do like a more chill playlist because I found if I'm trying to listen to hype music the whole time, it like gets my heart rate up, and you just can't stay hype for hours on end when you're running this long. So I'm gonna do like a chill playlist, and then maybe a worship playlist, or maybe those will be one and the same, and then probably hype playlist as well, and just save a bunch of podcasts. But ultimately try to just like get in a flow state and go without music for as long as I feel good doing so, because I found in the past, like on my long runs, if I try to listen to a podcast is usually my go-to, but like a podcast or music prematurely, I feel like it'll pull me out of like a flow state sometimes. So I've like made that mistake and I don't want to do it again. But okay, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna go do this little shakeout. For supper tonight, we're gonna do just a little stir fry with these noodles we picked up from Trader Joe's, some frozen green beans that we brought with us, and then some Just Meats chicken teriyaki that we also brought with us. You probably have seen me talk about them before, but they deliver really high quality meats, already fully cooked. You just have to heat them up straight to your door, which means they're so convenient for travel. You just can throw them in a cooler or let them, thaw out while you're actually traveling. Heat it up on the stove and you are good to go. So it's like 4 servings in here, roughly at 28 grams protein a piece. Really, really convenient. And you guys can use code JustSally for a discount. I'll put that link down below. Today's the day. I'm gonna tell myself what I've been telling myself for the past 2 weeks. I just have to show up and do it. That said, the nerves are doing their thing, but just have to show up and do it. Words of wisdom.
Escape.
Okay, I didn't even think to film at the start. And this is gonna be a glorious angle that you get if I am able to film at all during this run. But we're about 1 mile in. Things are feeling good. I was like so nervous on the car ride over, but as soon as I got here and like saw everybody and like the start line, it turned into excitement. So
clocking like a 9:55 right now, which is way faster than I normally would be running, but I feel good. We're going downhill, so I'm just gonna roll with it right now. Go based off how I feel. Kind of walking this line between not wanting to be out here for too long, but also not wanting to run too fast. But I'm not gonna overthink it. Okay, it looks like we're 4.5 miles in. I'm going in for my first bit of fuel and get it out. My watch definitely is not giving me nearly as much credit as the course is I'm learning, because it says 4.06, but I actually just crossed the 4.5 mile marker. So I guess that makes me feel a little bit better. But I'm feeling good. And usually like between 3 and 4 miles is kind of where I hit my flow. Like I'm able to just get in the zone, keep doing my thing, and I felt good from the start, so hopefully I'll just keep feeling better for as long as possible. Really important to keep on top of fueling like before it becomes an issue. Just past the first turnaround, it's a double out and back, so that means first quarter done. Still feeling good. Tummy always gets like a little weird anytime I try to eat, so don't love having to do that, but kind of a steady climb, shallow but steady. See how this part goes. Approaching 11 miles. Managed to get another one of these and a few gummies in. I will just say this is the best that I felt this far into a run. So definitely encouraging. The uphill actually isn't too bad. My pace just naturally slowed down. I got like 45 seconds to a minute and we're just cruising. But it's gonna feel good on that gentle downhill here in a couple miles when we hit the turnaround. Whew. Halfway. Just crossed the finish line for the first time, so it doesn't count, but we're halfway there. Ultimately just feeling really grateful. Grateful to be feeling this good this far in. Grateful for a body that allows me to do this, and just, I don't know, the means to make the decision to come out here and challenge myself. And I'm definitely feeling it, don't get me wrong, like my legs are starting to feel it, but we're doing well overall. And just have to remind myself, like, I chose to do this. There's so many people who have to do much harder things who don't get to choose to do it. And man, I'm just blessed to be here. I saw Samuel like probably 25 minutes ago now, coming back. I'm so proud of him. I think he's on track. His goal is to do sub 4, which is really ambitious because he's never done this before. He wasn't a runner before this. Awesome job.
Thank you.
But he was hauling. He said he was hurting. But I think that if he can just push through, he's gonna do it. Regardless, I'm so proud of him. He's so impressive. 20 miles. Everything beyond this is the furthest I've ever run. And honestly, this is the furthest I've ever run, because when I did 20 miles, there was a good bit of walking involved that last time. So, gosh, proud of myself. Not gonna lie, I'm definitely hurting. My lungs are feeling good. My heart's doing well. It's just, my feet, my legs don't really want to be doing this anymore. But you know what? We're so close. 6 miles. You feel so long after you've done 20, but let's go. You can feel so long after you've done 20, but realistically, that's nothing. I do 6 miles all the time. Just wake up in the morning, do 6 miles. I did not come this far just to come this far.
Where do feelings go? I've been doing better, even though I wonder if I'm gonna find out on my own. Should I just surrender? Looking for forever.
We did it. And to be honest, I feel like there's not too much more to say than that. Just that we did it, and it feels so incredibly rewarding to see the work that both Samuel and I have put in over the past 6 months really come into fruition. I did end up walking a little bit at the end. I ran to 21 miles without walking at all, without stopping, except for I had to go into the bathroom super quickly and I had to fill up my water super quickly, but it was in and out and barely stopped at all. And I've never run to 21 miles before. We did our 20-mile training run, and goodness gracious, by the last 3 miles, it was such a struggle and there was so much walking involved. And I have kind of wondered after the race, it's like, could I have really pushed myself and forced myself to run the full distance instead of walking maybe a mile and a half-ish towards the end there? And I think the answer is yes, but I made a calculated decision that I just have to trust at that time, that I wanted to walk away having enjoyed the experience, if that makes sense, like felt good about it, feel decent in myself, and not just arbitrarily push myself to the point of feeling like absolute garbage. So I don't know. I don't exactly know how I feel about that, but in the grand scheme of things, it was only a little bit of walking. I ran the full last mile and it was crazy. It was like as soon as I could see the finish line, adrenaline is a weird thing, man. It's like everything in my body that was hurting just stopped hurting, and I was truly able to like sprint the last quarter of a mile. Yeah, that was just really cool. And it was neat. That last mile I put on Oceans, which is a song that I'd listened to as well in some of my longer training runs, and just really reflected on the journey and reflected on like the Lord carrying me out to places unknown, to places that I couldn't go on my own. And maybe it sounds silly, but I do think just this whole experience has been such a massive opportunity for me to grow in like tangibly trusting God, if that makes sense. It was so sweet. My cousin who lives in Oregon, who I don't get to see very often, drove out like 2 hours to come and cheer us on and took us out to lunch afterwards. Her name's Shannon. She's awesome. We went to this pasta restaurant called Grassa, tried to get a good post-workout meal in. I will tell you, it is hard to eat after the stress on your body of a race like that. But it was delicious nonetheless. And while that night and into the next day, I was definitely feeling the effects of that distance on my body, it ultimately went away pretty quickly. And I'm filming this right now 1 week and 1 day after the race, and I feel completely normal. I haven't gotten back to running yet, but I honestly feel great. And that's been really rewarding, just to see how my body has recovered. And even the consistency that I was able to maintain during the race itself. So what's next? To be honest, I'm just so excited to be able to enjoy running, because never in my life have I before been fit as a runner such that trying to go out on a run wasn't completely miserable. So I'm excited to play around with shorter distances, to really just train, to build my body, to get stronger, to get faster, to get healthier. As I talked about in the previous video, obviously a marathon distance is a stressor on the body. It's not something that I'm going to be doing all the time. It's not something that I have in the cards to do again, not saying I never would. I'm definitely putting my Ironman aspirations on the back burner. I said if I decide to do that, it's probably going to be after I have kids. But right now I'm not really interested. Maybe a half marathon, because I feel confident at that distance and I feel like it's not that big of a stress on my body. But like I said, I'm just excited to enjoy running and really focus on my lifting moving into the next several months, because I definitely did lose strength towards the end. And I'm just so excited to get back to that. But kind of in closing, I want to share what I shared over on Instagram, because I think it kind of sums up my thoughts on the whole experience. I said 6 months ago, I was not a runner. 3 miles at a 12-minute pace took just about everything I had to give. Today we finished 26.2. The path to today has been one of the most sanctifying and rewarding things I've ever done. When I hear people say, I could never, it makes me chuckle. You'd be shocked by the things you're able to do when you decide you're going to, make a plan, and hold yourself to the commitment you made. I'm not suggesting you need to run a marathon if that's not your thing. I am, however, suggesting that you stop letting I could never prevent you from living into your potential. I think that does a pretty good job of summing up my thoughts from the experience. If you have questions and want to learn more, drop them in the comments. I could always do a Q&A on the topic. I don't know how much interest there is, but most of all, I just wanted to film this video so I have the memories to look back on, because while it's easy to just go on to the next thing, like realistically, this was a pretty big accomplishment and I want to remember it. So if you've made it this far, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, bye y'all.